Hey guys, you might be asking yourself, what the heck is a BBE and what is sonic maximizing and do I actually need that? When audio comes out of a sound system, the highs and mids and lows can actually come out at a different speed, and that's how some speakers have better transients and some have a slower sort of feel to them. You're just getting all of these different correlations between the highs, mids, and lows. So BBE set out to correct that. If the lows are coming out faster than your highs, you're going to have this sort of smeared, muddy sound. So their BBE process corrects that. It does so by affecting the phase and amplitude relationship. So if you have phase is the wavy waveforms, and if they come out of alignment, it creates a nasty sound. And if you have two mics and out of phase, it's going to sound like this, which is terrible. So you could have any distance in between that as well. You could be mildly out of phase, you could be totally out of phase, or perfectly in phase. The BBE Sonic Maximizer very subtly affects the phase to create a not so subtle effect. I have one here. This is the 422. This is one of the classic 80s into the early 90s BBEs. Most of the differences are in the connectivity. Some are balanced, some are unbalanced. This has 1/4-inch jacks, great for throwing this into your effects loop of your guitar. Also RCA, so you could put it into your home stereo between your cassette player and your tuner, which will make it sound way more awesome. What almost all the units have in common is they have a low contour, or is essentially an EQ of 50 hertz and below. And that is tons of fun, especially when you're a kid and you're just like, let's see how beefy I could get my guitar tone. It's like shaking the walls. It's super cool. And a process. Essentially what the BBE process is it breaks your audio into 3 multiband segments. The lows are 150 hertz and down. The mids are from 150 hertz to 1.2 kilohertz. And then the highs are everything above 1.2 kilohertz. It lets the highs pass right through. The mids are delayed 0.5 milliseconds and the lows are delayed 2.5 milliseconds. What that's doing is letting your ear hear all of the high content first, and it's sort of giving you the audio in a nice, palatable, clear way. So you're hearing this definition, and then the body and the low end comes later. The result is not at all a delayed effect. What it feels like more is a more drastic EQ and a little tweak on the phase. Other companies have their own audio exciters. Sonic Maximizing, I think, is exclusive to BBE, but also Aphex right here. Aphex has a long history with aural exciting. Yeah, man. Theirs is a little different. Theirs is not using a delayed process with the phase. Theirs is actually injecting harmonics into the audio, and it's a kind of a different thing. I'll show you that in a different video. There's several ways you could apply this effect. BBE did have a pedal. I think it was called the Stinger. I don't think I would do that to my raw guitar signal. So I don't know if that was ever really all that popular. It got quite popular in an effects loop or between the preamp and a power amp section. I mean, you were seeing BBEs, Steve Lukather's rack, Megadeth, Vito Bratta. He loved it so much, he talked to ADA about building a BBE inside the ADA preamp. Skid Row, Reb Beach, Paul Gilbert. Joe Satriani actually listed it as like one of his secret weapons on Surfing with the Alien, I think it was. So it was super popular, and then it sort of faded away when people started realizing, like, oh, I'm starting to hear that as a recognizable sound, and it's slightly unpleasant and a little hard and harsh sounding. And I think more importantly is that the amp designers really started to dial in a lot more highs and lows in a much more flattering and comfortable way. I'm going to show you this in between the Soldano X88R Channel 3 and the VHT 2150. That's that's a good 80s reference tone there. And then maybe I'll try it on the Friedman BE, which doesn't need it at all, but Let's see what happens. Also, I'll record just some straight guitar tone, and I'll put this on after the fact in the mix, which also, you know, might even be a better way to do it. But you know, sometimes those metal guys, you can't tell them what to do. All right, guys, here we go. BBE off. BBE on. It's a pretty extreme setting. Let me pull everything back a little bit. So that's not bad. I wouldn't freak out if initially that was what was happening. It's just so easy to go way off the deep end on this thing. Yeesh.